Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's 11 a.m. Pacific time. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with this week's weekly horoscopes. This is my first live back in 2024. I was supposed to come back last week, but my internet went down and didn't come back until very late in the afternoon. So I apologize to everybody for my absence. So I want to talk a little bit. Let's start. I'm going to give you some ideas of how this is going to roll. I feel a little disorganized, I'll be honest, right now. So give me a minute to catch my good morning, Joe. Jay, good morning. Good morning. Okay, let me turn the light up here. I have to tell you, it's been kind of crazy, the beginning of the year. I have a personal square between my natal Mars and and transit Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And this is significant because this week the sun is going to join with Pluto at that 29th degree of Capricorn before it moves into Aquarius. And I think this beginning of this year, as we head into that conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus in April, I personally know it's huge, and I can't even express why and how that plays out. But I want to talk about some really crazy things that have been going. Good morning, Catherine. It's so good to see you here. For those of you that are watching in the playback or that are new to the show, when I get to doing the readings, I'm basing these on whole sign Western astrology. So we're going to do a weekly reading for each sign. We're going to start with Capricorn, as it is still their season, and work our way around the zodiac. But we have so much powerful energy going on that I just feel like I want to kind of give you an idea of how I'm processing these things in a way that feels more personal to me. I'm understanding my own chart a little bit more and how the transits are, what they're offering me. So those of you that have been around for a while know that I have had Pluto squaring my sun, squaring my Mars, and squaring my ascendant. Both my sun and my Mars are in Libra. Both are in a challenging dynamic. Libra, it is in fall, I believe, and Mars is in detriment. Okay. And they're at those obviously last degrees of Libra. I personally have been experiencing Pluto, criminal behavior, Mars, the hero. Now, most of the time we think of Mars as the warrior, the, banshee, the aggression, the anger, the violence, and yet Pluto itself rules those insidious criminals underneath that do things in the dark, that mess with your psychology, that instill fear to repress you. So as I have experienced this square, and it's been going on for well over like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I had my initial hot Mars reaction, and now at this final stages of this square for me, right before Pluto is going to move into the sign of liberation, of rebellion, of your individual power on some level. When we can think the Aquarian energy, we're thinking futuristic things, 2.0 things that aren't natural to our normal existence, our normal everyday routines. So I have, in my growing awareness and connection with spirit, have understood a louder voice from them, being able to, I'm sorry, I put the everybody knows that I do this show. I put my phone all the way on. I quiet it, I mute it, I do not disturb it, and I'm sorry. I don't know how it gets through. I'm not computer savvy, so I apologize. So let me back up here, because I want to say this. It's so powerful. Mars and Saturn are usually considered to be counter. Saturn wants to slow down, wants to look at history, do things by the rules. Mars wants to move, assertion. And yet Mars is exalted in Capricorn? Kind of seems weird. So the planetary activity has challenge, but the environment is supportive to Mars. So I'm thinking at this point, those of us that are standing in awareness of both the ebb and the flow, or the good and the bad, however you want to say it, will be able to tap into the hero within, and to whatever the demon, the bad guy, the out of balance issue is, you will find a wisdom and some sort of support within yourself to trust a bigger knowing. Now let's back up a little bit. As we went through a Mercury retrograde over the galactic center, where it went over there 3 times at the end of 2013, and it went direct. Mercury went direct in Sagittarius at the very beginning of the year. It was so powerful because I literally was in my Martian hot, like hanging on the ceiling, pissed off. And I could feel spirit saying, Teri, you are too hot to hear the solution. The solution came a few days later, in the middle of the night. It was like an epiphany. And every action that I've taken since has been one that has been inspired. And while I am scared, and I've been bullied, and I've been intimidated, and I've been passive aggressive pushing on me, I feel so much like a knight of the round table. I keep having these meditations where I see all these, King Arthur type knights preparing for battle, and yet at the same time they're very organized and intentional. There's no chaos, and there's such a strong feeling of victory. Mars in Capricorn, taking strategic action, becoming a real Jedi warrior in our actions, because the square between in your personal charts, wherever Pluto is, whatever planet's squaring you to, it is calling forth your awareness to an elevated or a more aware version of that planet. I had a client who had an astrology reading with a well-known astrologer here on YouTube, and scared the pants out of her because it all went to the dark side of Pluto, the dark side of Saturn, and each and every one of these planets offers such richness, and especially the malefics, especially Pluto, especially Saturn, and Uranus as well. And as we come into that conjunction with Jupiter, we could revolutionize our businesses, our beliefs. We can expand in ways that we never thought were possible. But that is part of us stretching to have this awareness and this connection and this grounding of our communication with our inner knowing before we go into the outer world. I think that's really important. On the 19th, this week, we are going to see the Sun and Pluto come in an exact conjunction at 29 degrees. The 29th degree is the Leo degree of leadership. The Sun rules the Zodiac. It stands for leadership. And we could very much see shaky leaders, people who have been standing in more Plutonian energy than they have been in Jupiterian energy, start to feel their castles crumble. And I think it's really powerful for those of you that are going through any sort of power struggle, strife, any Plutonian energy. If you're feeling dominated in any way, if people are poaching your money, if people are trying to screw you over, being able to connect with spirit for that divine solution. That's what the Galactic Center offers: divine downloads, divine solutions. And Mercury is still hovering, I believe, at that time, because Mercury's just about to go into Capricorn. Oh, it went into Capricorn yesterday. Okay, so it's past that point, but it's still relevant because it's still within orb. So pay attention to any sort of, almost feeling like a thought that comes through that feels like it's half your thought, but then half a thought that's been given to you from somewhere else. Welcome, Sandy. Hi, Small Wildflowers. Happy New Year. Hi, Margie. Hi, Katerina. It's so wonderful to see you. Natalia and Joshua. Hi, Joshua. Hi, 145 Club. Gosh, it feels like it's been a long time since I've seen you. Isa, good to see you. Cece Pops. I said hi to Catherine and Jay. Welcome, everybody. So happy you're here. Okay. I wanted to say this too, because I was thinking about having my Libra and my my sun and my Mars in Libra, where it's in challenged energy, it again played to the idea of what does Libra represent other than marriages. It represents harmony. It represents civil servants. Saturn, who is squares, Capricorn squares Libra, right? And Saturn is exalted in Libra. Another example of this interesting energy of houses coming into what could be tense energies, and yet the planets themselves are in a high dignity within them. So I feel like this is a real opportunity to broaden, to drop the keywords, to connect with spirit and say, how does this affect me? How does this empower me? This last month, I have felt so assaulted. Never before. Teri usually lives in like really maybe family conflict, but I don't have a lot of conflict in the outside world. And I'm like literally been lambasted. My character's been assassinated. I've had bullying from these large men. None of them are women. They're all men bullying me. And I feel triumphant over them because their arrogance is going to trip them up. And if I had not had this awareness of the transformation, Pluto squaring my Mars, of my Mars energy, I never would have felt not only the power, but also the protection. The protection of the divine laws of the universe, that when one is aligned to source energy, they are more powerful than millions of people and millions of dollars. So you guys, if you have any conflicts going on, if you find yourself, because this is, this Pluto going into Aquarius is going to kick up rebellion somewhere in our lives, definitely in the outside world. And, I feel like rebellion ushers in balanced change often, and we've watched this happen throughout history. I think the 19th is a pivotal day. And I want to say, I think the whole week leading up to it. I also find it very interesting because a lot of the things that I have implemented through agency, okay, rather than me trying to take a fight on myself, I'm using the proper agency and aligning to that. That very much, tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day in the United States. Great civil rights leader, equality for all. I have a dream. Pluto conjunct the sun in the sign of oppression and the government and rule. Grab onto your truth this week. Connect with spirit and call forth and invite in those inspired ideas and actions. Because wherever this could be, if Capricorn is your 5th house, then it's about expressing yourself creatively and opening yourself up. If it's in your 11th house, it might be stretching further on the internet. There could be so many varying layers to what can happen. Okay. So I think this is powerful. On the 20th, we'll see the sun entering Aquarius and the moon will fall. And Pluto will follow the next day. So we have for like the next week and some, the sun, the king, the ruler of the Zodiac, not just Leo, it's ego. Okay. Pluto destroying the ego of Capricorn. Time to pull out Excalibur and hold Excalibur ever so gently in your hands. I hope that made sense. I'm super excited about victory, to be honest with you. I never felt so powerful in my life and so secure, and I've never been so under attack. It's such a contrary feeling on some level. I also want to mention that at the as I won the first battle in this war, and I knew there was going to be a counterattack, I have to tell you, the counterattack ended up being the most beautiful thing in the world, where the arrogance of some people they may get jail time. That's how bad this is. Okay. And one of my clients was here last weekend and brought me this beautiful smoky quartz crystal. And I've been holding it in my hand. And it's so weird because it feels like, I don't want to say it, but it has this weird feeling of like being some sort of laser beam that can cut through the BS and, like almost like a lightsaber kind of thing, I want to say. So I really have such a weird feeling. I also want to say this too, because the idea of being in a strategic spiritual battle against the dark is a very it's a weird adrenaline rush where I've been so tired and so energized at the same time. Been pretty crazy. All right. So on we go. We're going to do our readings. We're going to start with Capricorn, last weeks of Capricorn. Let me say this for you, Capricorn rising. You know, Capricorn rising at this late degree is going to be transformational. And I also want to say this because, you know, I may not have inferred this, but Pluto's transits throughout my natal chart have really honed me. Yes, they have brought both physical and metaphoric deaths in my life, deeper awarenesses of my own psychological imprint, and being an Aries rising, that's anger and resentment and not being able to let anything go. And then as I've aged and as I've called forth a deeper awareness so that I may take action that is aligned to my deeper truth, I'm loving the opportunity that these planets have. How often do astrologers talk about the reward of Saturn? That reward is so rooted so deeply that it will take you lifetime after lifetime into abundance and into creation and into building long-term sustainable dynamics. And yes, do we have to endure the human veil? Do we have to endure sometimes an emotional salt that we never would think was fair? But that's the rough side of Saturn, and that can stoke our fears. It can make us depressed. We can feel, right now, I feel the Saturnian man all over trying to frickin' step on me. But you know what? I'm a lion and I'm going to roar. So look out. So I really want you guys to don't feel like the planets are happening to you. The planets are offering a landscape for you to walk through to see your own intention, your own awareness, your own power, and your own divine being inside of you as you connect, and it supports that. All right, here we go, Capricorn. Our first card, I know, I'm so going to get them. You guys, I can't wait to tell you the whole story because it's going to be really fun. Capricorn, this is the Seven of Cups. This is a really interesting energy because primarily it's all about trusting your gut, because no matter what decision you make, there's good news and there's bad news. You can see, I always kind of look at the cup that has the victory wreath and the skull, because when you go to war, in order to be victorious, something has to die. And there is no true death. There is just transformation. The body may be shed, but the consciousness goes on. So Capricorn, you've been going through a Pluto transformation that has been, really calling forth opportunities to see, the deep parts of how you've been imprinted by structure, by your own potential fears, by your own focus on deprivation, lack, cold. Saturn rules stone, and it rules bones, and it rules things that feel dry. So now here's all this watery energy coming into your life and asking you, watery being Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio is water, but it's kind of like going deeper into the murky waters of your own imprint, because this Pluto Sun conjunction this week, it's not just for the late born or late degree risings. It's going to be for everyone who has some sort of aspect. So all the cardinal signs will be affected. Cancer will be in opposition. Libra and Aries will be a square again. La, 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 la. I swear, I think the man is going to get his little butt kicked this week. And I feel it's kind of poetic justice that it's happening on the week of Martin Luther King Day. And also I call her my mother-in-law, but she's really my sister's mother-in-law. She passed away on Martin Luther King weekend years ago, and she loved my apartment and she loved my home, and I think she would be supporting me from the other side. So let's go, Capricorn. You're going to have to make some sort of decision from your gut, from your inner knowing, that's going to stretch you, and it's going to call forth a really big leap of faith in some ways. Welcome, Pickles from Belgium. So good to see you. Okay, here we go. Oops. Well, we got the perception card and the wealth card just flying out of the deck, so we'll keep that. That makes sense. We have protection And we have the love card. This is for Capricorn rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. These readings on Sunday mornings are based on whole sign Western astrology, but I would look at my chart in Placidus. I am a lake degree Aries rising. It puts most of my what would be first house in whole sign in the 12th house, and that's significant to me and my personality. So that's why I kind of shifted that direction. But I think for large audiences and for these videos, it serves easier to be in whole sign. Okay, Capricorn rising. The perception card is being joined by Astera. You deserve the best. Reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and do not compromise. That's the endurance of Capricorn. The wealth card is here with Adriana. I'm leading you to the answers to your prayers through your communications, your thoughts, your inspired ideas. Protection is being joined by Athena. This is about lovingly asserting yourself. Now, this assertion is not a physical assertion. This is an assertion in your perception and in your dreams and in sort of anchoring in your emotional body. You know, that part of Capricorn, and let's say you have a lot of activity, you have a lot of Capricorn planets within Capricorn, or, you know, if you've got planets that are dutiful, like if you had Saturn on your ascendant, it could very much make you think that you've got to give everything out to other people, to be dutiful, you could be very, very ambitious. You could be the type of person who's like, I want to build and build and build and show everyone how important I am. And this is more about your emotional body. How important are you to yourself in what you're building? How much are you giving to your emotional body rather than trying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and don't compromise and be mindful of what is my perception? This was something that as I've been going through this square of Pluto, transit Pluto to my Mars, it made me aware that on a deep psychological level, I have felt invisible. And no matter how much I'm seen in the outside world, the truth of Teri feels unseen because she's not materially, obviously abundant. I don't care about cars or clothes or makeup or shooting my face up with fillers. So people tend to, you know, I live in a very materialistic area. So the point I'm trying to make is that as I had that awareness, I was able to tap into a deeper truth. Capricorn, your real wealth lies in something emotional, something you're building for yourself about your personal value, about seeing yourself. Adriana has been leading you to that. You're being protected as you assert yourself in this unknown place of, you know, back and forth. And the final card is love with the angel Maya. So you are still learning about love, but not like how to love somebody else. It's how to love you and what you're doing, how you're building your life, how you're building your relationships, how you're structuring yourself, the permissions you give yourself to claim the rewards of your ruling planet, Saturn. You know, starting to think that, you know, once you get past your first Saturn return, you know, by the time you get to your second, Saturn is willing to offer you rewards, and it is willing to offer you rewards all the way through. So if you're feeling sad or repressed or depressed, Saturn is asking you to dig deeper into what are you feeling? Because oftentimes, without realizing it, we're playing to the outside world. We're not playing to ourselves, because what fun is it when we don't have anyone to celebrate our accomplishments with? So we look to others to validate that. You know, ooh, that's a good idea. Ooh, you'll do good there. Ooh, yay, yay. But what if your idea and the thing you love is nobody likes? You know, or you're like, here you are, this Capricorn that's been working this dutiful earthbound life, and all of a sudden you start flying into the stars and people are like, who and what happened to you? You're crazy now. And you somehow know you're not. That could be painful. So it's a liberating time. And, you know, with the sun and Pluto in the last degrees of your house, is going to be a big time for illuminations, for reconstructions. You know, it's interesting because the sun makes things grow and Pluto makes things die. Very much like this card here. All right, let's go on to our Aquariuses. All right, Aquarius. I want to offer this. Don't be afraid of Pluto in your first house. I've had Pluto conjunct all my personal planets my whole life, except my moon. It did oppose my moon, but this is an opportunity again to really look to the future, to renovate, to also consider potentially that Maybe some of your dreams didn't manifest yet because part of them were attached to Uranian ideas. The world evolving into places where we're utilizing technology. I myself, here I am, 63 years old and getting older every day with this battle that's going on. But anyway, I didn't know that technology would be key to my future. I didn't know that the years that I spent just banging around with no cell phone and no internet and just using the yellow pages, that someday I'd have all this opportunity just sitting in my living room. So, when you're looking to the future, Aquarius, don't focus on that dark side of Pluto. It's not fair to the planet. It's not fair to you. And I don't care what any other astrologer says, because yes, there is transformation and illusions will die. Dominance will die. Out of balance, obsessive behaviors will die, but they can bring forth something so much better. All right, let's look at your tarot card. Justice. Justice. I love this. This is a very Libran energy. Okay. This is about when we talk about fairness, but I want to offer it this way because, again, fairness is a point of view. And so what we see when we look at this justice is sort of the ebb and the flow. And I say that in a way that I mean that as I look at the justice card and I see the sword being held up so high, I feel as if this is really the justice in the way of thought. Again, kicking in that focused thought is like a magnet. It kicks in the law of attraction. And this is where we learn about focused thought and things come into play. When I look also at Aquarius, I mean, for Aquarius, looking at the Justice card, it feels as if potentially Pluto's entry this week, right after this whole Sun conjunction, and they're going to be kind of together for 3 or 4 days, I kind of feel like, because you got to give the orb, right? And it feels kind of powerful. There is a feeling, I just got this other weird feeling. Pluto's the furthest planet that we know of away from the sun. And here we have this bright light and this darkness. We have, leadership and then criminal behavior. Somewhere coming together is, I think, potentially going to give you a feeling of there's duality to everything. And it isn't about looking at what to go outside is fair and just, but maybe what's fair and just to you on the inside. Maybe it has something to do with you realizing or saying to yourself, having a realization that, you know what? Maybe for me to be, to live my dream, I can't look outside myself for other people to see what kind of crazy stuff I can invent in my head. Aquarius rules genius. How many people can relate to genius? Not the average bear. So there's this little surrender, It's kind of like, I kind of want to look at this as you'll see it once I believe it and once I create it. That's the way I feel like there is something very strong and just coming here for my Aquariuses. Now, I also want to say this. Those of you that are early born Aquariuses, you've already felt this 0 degree of Aquarius in 2023. So there may be a revisiting of some of the themes at that time. And this is, whenever there's a revisit, there's an elevated opportunity to be more powerful within the situation. So calling forth on your team on the other side, I think, would be very powerful for you as well. That's something I've done a lot. I've done a lot of meditation, and that's where that's where those ideas, those pictures keep coming in my head of the castle and this preparing for battle. But it's so organized and peaceful, but yet so fast and intentional, and everybody's buzzing around, and there's fireplaces everywhere in my mind's eye, and I just feel so calm. All right, Aquarius, your first angel is Crystal. Have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. We have Omega, the victory card. We love that. We have Astera, again, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. And then we have Chantal, the angel of love. Now, justice represents the Libra energy. Libra represents not only justice, but also partnership. So we could be going to, there may be some sort of resolution in a partnership. Let's see. Crystal is being joined by the cat. Omega's being joined by the Grail Knight. Astera is being joined by the water fairy, and Chantal is being joined by the truth. This does not feel like it's intimate love to me, Aquarius. This feels like there is, Aquarius, you will feel the Sun-Pluto conjunction at 29 degrees. Early born Aquariuses will be feeling Pluto anyway, because there, as it's hovering, it's kind of a powerful orb in the sense of that little planet has big tentacles, okay, on the inside, because this is something about being able, there's a sense of independence coming. And what does Aquarius represent? Independence. It represents, a unique perception. It rebels against that which it does not feel is just. And Crystal's saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. Now, Omega is here, and we have the Grail Knight. I think something's going to be busted in the form of illusion. If anybody is standing out of integrity, or if somebody is in some ways not standing to not everybody has to believe in the same truth, but the authenticity of the truth within you is what I think is powerful. So while we may look at other people and go, well, you're not right, I'm right. If they authentically believe that they are right, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm small, I don't know what to do. These people, they just all, I don't know what to do. Okay. Aquarius, Astera says, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. And there's the feelings card. I want to offer it this way. Aquarius, you're not necessarily the most emotional sign. Oftentimes, you're always so innovative, thinking again. Oh, I'm going to be calm now. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know how to stop the dings. The only thing I can do is to zoom these things. And if I zoom them, there's, you'd have to all come on that way. All right. Aquarius, something's coming for you that is good. Something is coming this week that will illuminate a sense of not only the just and fairness is happening, that you also standing in your own integrity for what your truth is. Astera is saying, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires in your emotional body. There is an illusion that will be busted up. And I think at the end of the day, this love card has more to do with loving yourself than it does, like, it's the way you handle your truth. We talk about Uranus being a little hot-headed, doing unexpected things, lightning strikes, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the co-ruler Saturn that wouldn't react that way at all. So here comes this awareness all of a sudden that Aquarius has of these two sort of polarities, and yet at the same time, they complement each other. Very similar to how I think Saturn and Mars complement each other, which is why Mars is a welcomed guest in the house of Capricorn that Saturn rules. So here, I think you're having a victory over your own potential anxiety, over that which you cannot see, tapping into a deeper sense of your inner knowing. And in doing so, your truth makes you feel a sense of fairness. That's the way I want to put it. And you know what else? This may be, as I look at it, you may have a realization in a way that you need to be loved that you hadn't thought of before. Like, most people think when two people fall in love that there should be some sort of journey. First we date, then we exchange bodily fluids, and then we start exchanging our money, and we start to live together, and then we get married, and then we do whatever we do after that. You may find that, in love, you have an opportunity to actually be much more independent, or much more feeling of freedom, not having to follow the rules of love as they have been established for time after time. Again, the Justice card is a Libra energy. We do see the Grail Knight, which represents romance, and we have Chantal here. So very much you may be finding a sense of on the interior, not on the exterior, a settling into your desires that allows you to feel the justness and fairness. And let me just offer it one way or another way real quick. Aquarius, if for some reason you got convinced to go into an energy that was not authentic to you, or that you felt slightly caged in, you would act out poorly. You would pull out the darker sides of Saturn and Uranus, your ruling planet. So planets. So here, this is an opportunity, as you are aware of your deeper truth, to actually, again, think long term, think out into space, down the line, how this will work, and then fuel a more compromising solution to whatever the other side or the other party or the other dynamic, whatever that other side is. Okay, let's go on and let's pray that my phone, I swear, Jupiter's on my moon right now, and it is, I'm so busy, I can't get my Christmas tree down. I can't get my Christmas, well, not that I want to, but I should by now. That's why the camera's facing the other way. You can still see trees and gnomes everywhere. Okay, I never know when I just don't know how hi, Jules. Hi, Kita. Good to see you. Did I say hi, Catherine de Blair? Did I say hi, Catherine de Blair? See, this is what's going on in my brain. There's a weird jello here. All right, let's go on to our Pisces. Pisces, this is your card, the Hanged Man. Now, oftentimes people look at this and he looks a little uncomfortable, but there's nothing tethering him really here. It looks as if he's put his foot into this leather strap over here, and there's a pause for an illumination. The Hanged Man is also an energy of, in some ways, sacrifice for a greater love. There's a Greek myth. It's one of the P's. I can't think of it right now in my brain again, but I want to offer this to my Pisces. Saturn's been going through your first house, right? And Saturn has pretty much been like, let's look at what's sustainable. Let's move the fog, take off the rose-colored glasses. And while Saturn, can infer practicality, it's up to Pisces to write what is actually practical, okay? Because you are so connected to that which cannot be seen. There's so much ancestral energy within your sign. That's why I think sometimes it rules mental illness, because the contrary structures of the earthly experience can drive Pisces nuts, which is why your creativity, you're tapping into that, your imagination, but in a way that serves almost like a meditation, is very powerful for you. Now, let's also talk about the idea that Neptune is hanging out at those last degrees of Pisces, which is also creating, opposition to Virgo and an square to the other two mutable signs, Sagittarius and I think Gemini. I say this because at the last degrees of Pisces, the opposition to the Virgo energy is starting to get to the point of the supergalactic center, which is at 2 degrees of Libra. And come March, we're going to have an eclipse at 5 degrees Libra. And this point in the supergalactic center point within the Shapley cluster is one that focuses in on relationships, but they're not the relationships with other people. They're the relationship you have with yourself, this sense of individuality that allows you to be so much more connected to the truth of who you are, to what you want to experience, to, the me that you contribute to the we of relationship. So I think this is a powerful time really for artistic meditation. I just don't know what to tell you guys. I can't stop the text. I want to offer this to my Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, using your artistic ability, your craftiness, your watery energy to meditate, to slow down, to if you're feeling any of the restriction of Saturn conjuncting your rising sign or any of the planets within Pisces, you're being able to allow yourself sort of this, not trying to quiet your mind, but refocusing your mind on a creative endeavor will help bring a solution. Oh, it's so powerful, Jules. There's so many, this Shapley cluster has so much information. I have a lot of planets within the cluster myself, which makes so much sense for me and my life path and the choices I've made as far as marriage and children. And it's been of comfort to see that. It also makes me understand why I had Pluto conjunct all my personal planets. Apparently, I signed up for a master class this time around, and I feel like I'm doing very well. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Seraphina. The second is Isaiah. The third is Maya. And the final is Crystal. Seraphina is being joined by the love card. Isaiah is being joined by the risk card. Maya is being joined by the swan. And Crystal's being joined by the protection card. You know, when I look at this, I feel as if the hanged man, while it offers, it's a pause without a doubt. It is a time of slowing things down, and there's that inspiration. And when I look at this, I feel as if there's the potential that Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, is starting to give life to the idea that Seraphina talks about a new addition to my family, and there's the love card. And I feel like, well, there's the potential that some of you in childbearing years may start to bring children into the world. This feels more about, you know, Pisces can be overly compassionate to the point, thank you, Audacity Theater, to the point where they're actually enabling. Right? They're so compassionate. You poor victim, you poor victim, you poor victim. And to me, this feels as if there's an epiphany about love that helps me change how I show up, the family in my head, because Isaiah talks about giving birth to new ideas, and there's the risk card. And while this woman in that card is pregnant, I just don't, you know, I don't feel like this is about a physical child. I feel like it's the protection of the inner child as I, the most compassionate, the most empathetic, the sign that has no protection. There's no shell, there's no stinger, there's no scales of justice to hit somebody upside the head. The only thing Pisces can do is swim as fast as they can away. And so depending upon what's chasing them, they're vulnerable. So here, Maya, you've been going through, and this is Saturn's influence. And, you know, again, I don't know all your personal charts because it could be an aspect as well. You're learning about your own personal transformation from, and you know, I don't want to call the swan the ugly duckling, but the swan to me is taking off. It's beginning its flight. And this schooling and education comes from this meditation and this connection to spirit, because here Crystal is saying you have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon, and there's the protection card. And the protection card is not about physical harm. It's about aligning up mentally and emotionally. When I get nervous or scared, or I'm aware of my human vulnerability, I don't like necessarily try to armor up in a way that sometimes I found myself getting a little bit daring, like I, you know, taking the trash out at night when I feel vulnerable. But I also feel an acute protection of spirit around me. Like, I'm not going through this disruption to teach me anything. I'm not going through this disruption to school me or to punish me, but maybe to be the balancing factor and I get to hone my skills in this way. So I kind of feel like for my Pisces, this Neptune energy, the hanged man is asking you to slow yourself down, that your greatest connection comes from your connection to yourself. And I think that would best be served, especially this week, by allowing yourself the privilege of using creativity as a meditation, as a point of focus. Because you could be, you could be doing diamond art, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, and that's because when the mind is quiet, and that's what creative projects do, they quiet the mind. Hey, Goretti, welcome. Am I saying that right? Welcome to the room. You're not late. You're just right on time. Because whenever you get here is the perfect time to see you. All right, we're going on to our Aries rise. Oh, this is the other thing I want to tell you. The next few months, everybody's going to experience a lot of energy in, pardon me, In Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. This is very powerful. Wherever that is in your chart, it's going to, like if it's Aries first house, Taurus second house, Gemini third house, it's going to be all about yourself, how you express your skills, how you think, how you talk to yourself, and how that all plays out in your everyday activities. Fourth, fifth, sixth house, it's going to be transformational in your home, in your creative body, in your service, and your health. Seventh, eighth, ninth. So pay attention, because there's a very strong cluster coming in, and there's a strong concentration leading up to that Jupiter Uranus conjunction in April. Okay, Aries. Ooh, this is the Eight of Wands. Now, oftentimes when a tarot card reader will say, we don't know which way the wands are going. I absolutely think those wands are coming to the ground. When you look at the rest of the suit, all the little bits of plant life, the leaves, they're all at the top of the wands. So this is a conclusion of some kind. This is also news, endings. I'm not going the right direction, but you get where I'm you get what I'm trying to say. Something is going to come through. I think it's could potentially be information, which excites me with my Aries rising, because within my personal spiritual war that I'm walking through, I feel there will be strong news coming through this week. And I feel favorable news. See, Josh, great minds think alike. Yeah, Jules, well, I want to offer this. Again, as you harness the higher vibrations of how you interpret this energy, it's very powerful for you you won't succumb to the challenging dynamics. Saturn, as Pluto, I've got Saturn in Pisces right now. It is making an opposition to my natal Pluto. Saturn rules government. Pluto rules psychology. This is all in my house of Virgo. And it's conjunct a loose conjunction, Pluto with Venus, 5 degrees. I believe that this is about my self-worth. These criminals are stealing money from me, villainizing me, trying to disparage my character. And the whole time that this is happening, I've never felt so powerful in my quiet. I'm like a panther in that Serengeti, whatever, and I'm going to jump out, and they're not going to have a prayer. So my point here is in your mind, because Aries, this is so powerful for you. Your ruling planet is exalted in Capricorn. It moved into Capricorn on the 4th, and it's going to spend most of the month in Capricorn, in the house that it is most welcome, where everybody's like massaging your feet and bringing you good food. So take advantage of the intentional warrior, the spiritual, peaceful warrior. It's not about putting down your sword. It's about realizing it's the sword of truth. Pluto in Virgo, I think, is very powerful, because it's really, to me, Pluto, is that deep psychological imprint that represses us, our fears, why we give in to certain things, and then, certain lower energy things. And then Virgo itself is about slavery. It's about being chained to service to others without thought of self. And so there's the transformation of all of that going on. Oh no, the best thing you can, me too, because I'm a loudmouth, right? I'm like, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to do that to you. That's Mars all cray, right? But now I'm like, oh, I'm not going to you're never going to see me coming. And it's been so crazy. I got to tell you guys, I'm a nutbag. I have this little rebounder, and at night, I've been jumping up and down like a lunatic to Katy Perry's Roar. And I can't go to sleep. It's like, I'm almost like my Mars energy. I'm so wound up, readying for battle, that I don't know how to get off the damn thing. And here it is, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still bouncing like a nutbag. But I feel so powerful. And then I think that as I'm sending those rockets to desire, the song goes, you tried to hold me down, but I got up, got all ready, dusting off myself, and I feel like this is like the universe has no choice but to respond to my call. And if it was like a beautiful thing, the banks declared fraud, gave me my money back. And then these yahoos they're trying to get the money another way, and it's totally illegal. I'm laughing. I'm scared, but I'm laughing. All right. Aries, news is coming through. First angel is, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. Then we have Bethany is about self-care. Then we have Rosetta is about children, the inner child. It's also about teaching. And then we have Astera, again, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. Oh, I had a Saturn conjunct my Chiron about a year ago. Whenever it was going through Aquarius, it was really hard. I remember it was a lot of, yeah. I'm not saying the transits are simple, but as we dig deeper and the wisdom starts to reveal itself, we can find the blessings. Okay, here we have the Raven. Magic is about to happen. Yes, the time for magic is about to happen. Bethany is being joined by the butterfly. Your Aries, your Mars is about to be something you're going to be so excited about. You're about to be that it's I don't know how to explain it. It's like a decorated warrior, right? It's a warrior who knows how to use his skill. We have Rosetta being joined by the cow. This is beautiful because I feel like this is in the angel's advice. Children trust their parents until they learn not to, right? They have a natural trust of adults and authority. And when I look at that in the angel's advice, I feel like this is about having a natural trust in my connection to spirit. Aries, having a natural trust will bring your abundance. It's also a nurturing factor as you go into subsequent battles in your life, which will always go into something. There'll always be an opposition somewhere or a square calling us forth. But within that, there is so much beauty because Astera says to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. That is not like wishing on a star. That is connecting with your team. So here I am. I've made a move. I've done my battle strike, and I'm waiting for the retaliation. And I tend to listen to Shiva, a Shiva meditation. There's this drumming in the background, and this feeling of, and I want to tell you that as I do that, I don't feel like I'm collecting human beings, but rather energetic beings that know that I'm here with a great intention to create balance. Mars and Sun in Libra. Aries rising. Aries, you're here to connect more succinctly, more. It's like the stars are your general. The stars are your captain. The stars are the thing that give you the orders, your next marching orders. So as you wait for the information, the inspired information, the timing is right for you to take and blossom and actually to benefit. I can't do anything backwards. Benefit from your connection, which will make you a much, much more powerful creator in the future. Okay, something good is on its way. And I want to offer this too, because a lot of people may experience opposition because their alignment is so very different. Don't be scared, Jules. So if you have a Mars Chiron conjunction in Taurus, Jupiter's transit gives you an opportunity to rewrite your beliefs and transform Chiron into the gift that it's meant to be. Chiron was wounded because he did nothing. He came into this world because two people, or gods, whatever, had sex. And, he's the product of it. And his mother thought he was disgusting because he was a half horse, half human. He didn't do that to himself. But did he or didn't he? Because if Chiron, the body of Chiron possessed a soul, then going into that configuration of Centaur gave opportunities for Saturn and for Pleiath, or whatever her name was, to love their son. And it also compelled Chiron throughout his whole life to work with herbs and to heal and to create a bridge between civilization and the primal. So here it is in Taurus. Your wound has something to do with yourself, your voice, your skills, and Mars is requiring bravery in that action. Bravery to transform and use that wound as a gift. All right. And here we go, Taurus, rising moon, sun, or stelliums. Here's the cup of love and peace being offered. I love this. The aces are always the infusion of an energy. It's like a whoosh. And here, as I look at it, the cup is flowing over. And I want to offer too, because this very much feels like I feel this sense of overflowing because I am feeling a a connection to spirit that supersedes any previous incarnations of my connection with spirit. Jules, you're funny. Okay, here we go. Now, Taurus, I want to offer this because, this conjunction that, now Jupiter's been at 5 degrees for quite some time. Okay, it was retrograde. It went forward, I think, on the 31st of December. And this whole beginning of January, it's been kind of stationed as it's about to go direct. I think this is very powerful because the 5th degree is that Leo degree. So here you are, like, what do I love? How do I want to feel? And I think this is very powerful because Taurus, it represents a stoic energy in some ways, the beast of spiritual burden, or the beast of spiritual burden. And I feel like right now there's more of an opportunity to transform wherever there has been a burden into an opportunity to create relatability, to create an experience of triumph. And triumph doesn't happen situationally outside of ourselves. It starts on the inside, in the emotional body. So I think that's a powerful, let's see what's going on. I'm sorry, I had to drink. Astera says, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. She's showing up again. This is in the foundational position. Opal, you are a child of God. Rochelle is follow your heart. And money's coming. Daniel, the angel of marriage. Astera is being joined by the restriction card. Opal's being joined by Merlin. Rochelle's being joined by the serpent. And Daniel's being joined by burden. All right. Okay. The challenge a little bit for Taurus is that, as we see this week, the Sun and Pluto start to move into Aquarius, and this is going to square early born Tauruses, there could be a actual feeling of, I haven't done enough. I'm not close enough to my dreams. I haven't worked hard enough. I don't know. There's this weird, when I see this restriction card, I feel like it's judgy. I feel like I'm judging myself for some reason. And I don't know why I want to do that. I feel like I want to say this too, because as I've been going through this disruption and I've been looking for a sense of spirit to be like, no matter how bad it gets, you're going to win. I have not gotten that. I've gotten this incrementally. So if for some reason Taurus has some evidence that things are starting to line up, but you don't know all the way physically that things are going to work out, this is about going back to your connection to spirit and going into your emotional body. When I contemplate this battle ahead, there's a part of me that fearlessly laughs. And I feel like that little joy that I feel is not in victory in an egotistical way, but in a way more about how I'm handling my own behavior. Because here, Opal says you're being cared for by God and the angels, and alchemy is about to happen. But will you trust that? Will you trust that? Because you're being offered a new skin, a healing, but you've got to follow your heart. You can't follow what you see on the earth right now. It's almost as if you're in a forest and you're learning a new language by listening to the way that the forest works. When it's quiet, there could potentially be a predator. When it's loud and noisy and chirping, everybody's doing their normal thing. There's something about Taurus broadening beyond their history to see how their history is serving them to reach new levels of awareness and intention. Because Daniel represents marriage, but history and relationship. And now we see the burden card. So you could be feeling with Jupiter's retrograde last year, you could be feeling a little bit as if things have been going backwards, as if maybe even business has been going backwards, or there was a period in time when, the subscribership goes down, and then, how much will I fall in fear of that? Or will I believe it will rise again? There's something going on about trusting a bigger picture that if for some reason there's a block or there's a stall or if that Jupiter and the Sun conjunction up in Capricorn, which would be trining, it trines the Taurus energy, but then as it shifts this week, it's going to square it. So it makes me think there could potentially be a little bit of another level of calling forth for you to believe in the outcome before the outcome has revealed itself. And that your connection to spirit almost feels, sometimes as if it's I'll believe it when I see it, and I got to shift, or I get to shift it into I'll see it when I believe it. Because the hand of God is doing something for you, and it's a baton pass. So your job is to stay aligned to whatever that is. So if you're working on a project, and you're feeling a stall in yourself, my creative juices aren't flowing, then give yourself a break, almost like and not a break where you sit and worry about not getting anything done, because that's not a break. It's about trusting a little bit more and trusting your oversoul. Not all of you is in this physical apparatus right now. So you don't even have to worry about, will God give it to me? Yourself will give it to you, because it's sitting outside of you, holding space for you. I can't begin to explain how the human brain cannot wrap around how big our soul really is. There are no words. There's no comprehension to be had. 145 Club, I got to tell you, when that conjunction comes to, it's going to square my Chiron, and it's going to square my natal Uranus in Leo. And while that sounds interesting, I almost feel like it's going to be so liberating. Like my Chiron in Aquarius is going to finally feel justice, instead of feeling, having your Chiron in Aquarius is feeling like no matter how much you try to help humanity, nobody likes you. Nobody cares about you. You're just, you're as good until your story's over. And then, so I kind of feel like there's justice there. All right, I'm going to stop jawing. Okay, Gemini. This might feel a little challenging when you look at it on the face of the card, but it has a lot to offer. Here is the devil. This is the Capricorn energy. This very much could represent for Gemini that Pluto and Sun conjunction this week is going to reveal something. The characters on the devil card have this chain, but it's not tight on their necks. It's very loose. And neither of their hands are bound. So they have this opportunity to release the chains. But what is looming over them really, it's bigger in their mind than potentially it is in reality. And I feel like the characters here are naked because they get to be vulnerable to paying attention to what is that chain? Because the devil's not holding the chain. The devil's not doing anything but sitting there. So I think that this Capricorn conjunction of Pluto and Saturn could bring something through the work, authority with work, authority through, anybody who holds, dominion over land and that kind of thing, because, earth signs. Let's look and see where we're going, because it could also be where the devil, sort of gets knocked off of its perch. Let's see. It's going to be okay. Yeah, exactly. Could be really good. Hey, DJ, happy New Year to you too. If you guys play around at all, like look at celebrity charts and play around with it, lately you'll see a lot of people who had a real Pluto and then their lives got like a million times better that they could not see. All right, Gemini, Isaiah says it's time to give birth to new ideas and new situations. You're being protected and guided. There's Oceana asking you to take action on your heart and your truth. There's Layla talking about spending time in nature with God and the angels, telling them your intention. And then Aurora, you're flying high right now, which may threaten others, but it will soon inspire them. I was thinking about, I've been thinking about the duality of the planets and how so many astrologers just keyword everything. Oh my goodness gracious, this morning. Okay. Isaiah is being joined by the spider. Oceana is being joined by the burden card. Layla's being joined by the fear card. And Aurora's being joined by the death card. Okay, something is transitioning for my Geminis. We know that Jupiter is going to move into the house of your rising sign on May 25th or thereabouts. And this is, while it's an expansive energy, Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini. So I want to offer it this way because I think that the devil might now be a little bit about over contemplation of anything you can see with your eyes. Like, okay, so if this happens, then this will happen. And if this happens, then this will happen. And oh no, if that blip, 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 blip. And I feel like this Isaiah right now is saying like there's a gestation period going on. And then when you look at the spider represents relationships. To me, it represents when the fly gets into that web, it's sort of a lifelong relationship, okay? Because the fly ain't living very long. And I feel like for my Geminis, this is like giving life to what you want in the way of lifelong situations, relationships, dynamics. It's almost as if there is something that comes in an oppressive way, this somehow will make you come into a more determined, settled way of handling it. I feel like right now, the burden is that you're going back and forth between feeling powerful or feeling confident and then otherwise feeling scared and potentially vulnerable. And, you know, that's a little bit of a challenge of being mercurial because the Mercury energy moves so quickly that it doesn't dig deep into the information, which is why when Jupiter moves into your first house, there's going to be a broadening for you of your own belief system. And then maybe even a little bit more of I want to say an opportunity to dig in to your businesses, your commerce, building your own thing. More and more people are going to find benefit. Their side hustles are going to become their main squeeze. And these repressive jobs that we've had, Capricorn could rule your job, the authority of your job, the daily structure of those that hold dominion. This battle that I'm in, right? These people think that they are the boss of me because I pay my rent to them. They're not. And they don't get to determine what happens or whether I deserve to be here. So I'm taking them on because here, Aurora says you're flying high right now. Don't descend. Something's going to transpire. Something's going to change. And that could very well be not the change within you, but the change outside of you. Maybe your boss is going to get fired. I don't know. Sun, Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. It could happen. Some authority could potentially die. And I don't mean literally, I mean sayonara. See you later. Adios. Nice knowing you. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But at the same time, I think this is a super important time to connect. And I want to offer this too, because when I say connect to spirit, I don't like I sit and I listen to Shiva meditations or an Om meditation, and I know that I have a sense of fear and trepidation. But my biggest connection is trusting that I will be inspired to the next most beneficial action. So I think this is a very powerful time to look at your Gemini energy, look at the planets you have in Gemini, especially if you're a Gemini rising and there's more planets in there, and then ask yourself, where have I inadvertently given more power and control to that dynamic than I have to my connection with spirit? Because spirit is protecting me as I start to reach out into my network and start to create new situations, even if I'm a little scared, I'm doing it. Okay. Onward and upward. On to Cancer, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, which makes this Thank you, DJ. You know, I really want to say this. I don't think I'm a flowery person. I don't really even think I'm a nice person. I think I'm a kind person. And I don't say nice things. And I don't think I'm here as an astrologer to represent the higher vibrations of each of the planets because, let's just be so delusional. No, I believe in the laws of attraction. And if I focus on the dark part of a planet, I'm going to draw in that dark energy. If I focus in on the light part of it or the beneficial part, it draws that to me, regardless of the aspect. The aspect is only telling me how hard it's going to be for me to do. You know, if it's an opposition, I'm going to be fighting something outside of myself. If it's a square, I'm going to kind of be fighting something maybe even inside myself and outside myself and then the conjunction is where I've fused that energy with me. So when I tell you that Pluto is going over my personal planets for most of my life, fiery, hot. I could be a killer with words, okay? Like, I mean, really bad. And at the same time, I was stretching to understand and to be a peaceful warrior. I never wanted to let go of the fire in me. I just didn't want to burn everybody when I was pissed because I wasn't getting the response I wanted. Because I wasn't criticizing people. I was screaming for love and fairness. Don't you love me? Aren't I of value too? Look what I bring to the table. And nobody, I swear to God, I was in 17 damn weddings and I don't know any of those people anymore, including my sister. Ugh, I never got married, never got one dish, one registry, nothing. I was that girl. Ugh. Okay, here we go. Cancer. All right. This is the 7 of Wands. This guy is a little defensive. He's kind of looking, and because I'd like to say we don't know what's underneath the, what those other 6 wands are doing, but he's interpreting them as defensive. He's holding a very wide posture, right? And he's got a bit of a look of unsureness about him. So let's look and see where we're going, Cancer. Because I'm always, engaged by the colors and directions. And when I look at the green tunic, it makes me feel, most of this card is green and orange. Orange is my sacral chakra. His undershirt and his leggings are orange. His whole tunic is green. And it almost makes me feel as if, are you defending what you want? Or are you somehow in your mind's eye thinking, is it what I want? Is it good enough? Or will it be okay out there to those that I nurture? Let's see where we're going. Isabella says, yes, the timing is right. Chantal is about love and romance. Merlina is about magical wizards and balance. Isabella is being joined by the risk card. Chantal is being joined by the burden card. Merlina is being joined by Merlin. And Yvonne is being joined by the death card. I had a new client here the other day that in love made a big decision. This person had gotten to a certain part of the chapter of partnership. And at the end of the day, with all the invitations sent, they had to change their mind because ultimately they knew that it wasn't authentic to them. I feel like for my Cancers, something this week is going to come into play where you're going to feel a sense of, maybe I have to defend my position emotionally. And I almost feel as if Spirit is saying, don't defend anything. Sort of just let it lie for a minute. Again, Mercury is going to move into Capricorn this week. Mars is in Capricorn. Venus will follow shortly. And as Pluto and the Sun move into Aquarius, I think there's an opportunity for you to redefine to yourself what it is you want. Yes, this is a time to risk, but I'm not thinking that I'm risking the outside. I think I've got to start here. You're the moon. The moon is your ruling planet. It is, I believe it rules humans. So if you ask Teri, she could get crazy and say, does the sun really rule the zodiac or does the moon? I might say the moon, because I think right now you're feeling burdened in love and you're feeling potentially as if, the expectations of others or the obligations you've already set into place or the wee ones that you tend to, that everything's tugging at you. And if you have needed time for yourself, but you haven't felt it, I feel like it's magical for you to take that. Merlin is offering alchemy, justice, and balance. And I'm going to echo that with Merlina. When the two of them come out together, that's a double whammy of magic. But magic only happens as we align our thoughts to the outcome versus the journey of unsureness, the journey of unknowing. And the final position is Yvonne, my angel of vulnerability, and the transformational death card. This transformational death card is you actually risking something based on your emotional body versus trying to defend your position to another outside source. And I want to offer it this way. as I've been walking through this particular situation, I've had a conversation with one person, and this person is like so scared of having their rent raised that they will act like a mouse and will let their whole apartment go to the shit and shinola before that he would even do anything. And I'm like, I can't even stand that. I can't do that. And so in my mind's eye, I kind of had to risk, do I feel like what I am doing is truly aligned to my truth, to what I believe is fair? Like, where am I here? And I feel like that's what's so important for Cancer this week is, where do you need to be nurtured? Are you giving that to yourself? Are you feeling like your back's against a wall and the things outside of yourself are more important than the things inside of yourself? And now you taking a moment for self-care, Calgon, take me away. And I want to offer this too, because if there's a purchase, or if there's something that you've wanted, oh, I want to move here, or I want to get a job there, or it's time to really start to put the emotional dynamics in alignment, so that when the Jupiter Uranus conjunction appears, we have this opportunity to revolutionize ourselves. And I don't want to forget that Jupiter rules not only legal cases like Libra, it rules publishing and branding and marketing, and it rules expansion. And, we always say foreign things, foreign places and people. But when we elevate from one level, let's say, of income to another level of income, it's a foreign place. So I think this is really powerful for Cancers to be a little bit surrender. Don't defend yourself, because I don't think you'll be able to defend yourself, because you're going on a feeling. And that feeling is powerful. And that's where the real Aquarian age will come up, where we'll start to see it revealed, because we'll see this awareness of our thoughts are things, and that our thoughts are also a product of our emotions. They're not, the thoughts don't come first. The emotions come, and then the thoughts attach to them. Think about a baby. Baby doesn't have words, but it has lots of emotions. Okay, here we go. Leo, the page of thought. This is thought that is kind of exciting and inspirational. We look at this page, we have a youthful energy. We see that ponytail flying in the wind, as if he's learning to have some skill with his sword, with his way of thinking. And we also see a lot of action in the background of the card. The trees are blowing, the wind is blowing. So there's a clearing of the air in some way. Now, for my Leo ascendants, that puts Aquarius in your 7th house. And again, I really want to I'm talking in whole sign for this broadcast, but if you know your chart and you look at it in Placidus, you'll be able to see the house structure. My first house technically in whole sign is Aries, but when you put it in Placidus, it is all Taurus. So I'm very Taurian, even though I have an Aries rising, because that opposition of Pluto into Leo is going to do something to potentially inspire and transform. Let's go. Our first angel is Rochelle, following your heart. Now, what's the hardest thing to do for a Leo? Follow your heart. Then we have Rochelle, spending time in nature, talking to God and the angels. Archangel Uriel is about frustration, and Shanti is about peace. I want to offer this too, because, again, Leo represents, yes, the sun, the king, blah, 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 but it's the fun zodiac sign. It's the entertainment. It's like, let's go to the beach and let's play cards and pickleball and let's go to the movies and go to a comedy show. I think that's super powerful. And I think on some level that when I look at Rochelle saying, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, I think you could be having this back and forth with, yeah, I want it, but how will I survive? How will I make my resources? How will I do that? La, la, la. And that's where the frustration could potentially lie. And this is where I've started to broaden the way that I think with my terminology. I never use the word, I want this amount of money to spirit. I always say to spirit, bring me all the resources that will support my creative endeavors, that will support my Taurus moon so that I can actually do the work and not fret. So I feel like, resources is a good word rather than money. Abundance is a good word versus things that you can identify as a little bit of a trigger. So Leo, now creative projects. This is now absolutely going to be creative projects for me. This is about following your heart in creative projects. Layla And Layla talks about talking to spirit. What's your intention? I would like to feel this way. I would like to enjoy this. I would like to have enough resources to have 2 homes, whatever the case may be. Because now I feel like the Baird, well, it will talk about your history. I think that spirit is saying it's time to rewrite your history. It's almost as if there was frustration previously, then you have an opportunity to use that as a platform for that was then and this is now. Because joining Archangel Uriel is the deer. The deer can be fear. Leo can feel fear, but it's also about being gentle with yourself through your frustrations. If we think about what Leo's been experiencing with Venus going through your first house, like for 4 months in 2023, this could have a lot to do with relationships, but it could have a lot to do with your creativity, with how you express yourself, with what you want. Because I feel as if this is a time to have a gentle hand with your thoughts. And when I think about Layla, and the Baird together, it really triggers these ideas for me where when I've been going through this battle, all I've been thinking about is that I want people, my intention in this battle is for people to be treated as human beings, not as a commodity. And because you're not paying enough for where you live, you don't deserve to be there. And I'm like, I created this, okay? I did this. My vibration did this. And that's where I feel like as Leo starts to align their thoughts, that if I align my thoughts to what I really want in the way of money, resources, fun, even having kids. And then I start to tell spirit the story of how that feels. And then I'm gentle with myself as I go through this Pluto opposition. It is going to oppose you, but not in a way that is trying to annihilate you, but is offering that seesaw of balance. Because here is peace, Shanti, the angel of peace, and here is movement, which means that as you muse more on your creative projects, you will feel more a sense of peace. There's so many ways that people can promote themselves, their products, and their ideas on various internet platforms. And this conjunction between Pluto and Jupiter, and then Jupiter moving right into Gemini, makes me feel as if it's going to be jumps, like we're going to experience a jump like the 90s. When the 90s, when Blackberries came out and people started wearing phones on their hips, you look all cool. The next thing you know, everybody's walking around like this. And so I feel like this is moving forward. So there could very well be for Leo that inspired ideas come because you sort of calm down the old fearful story. You start allow a kind of a more broad story to show up of how peace feels for you. Oh, it's so fun to go do this. It's so fun to do that. There are things that can happen that you cannot imagine. Meaning you could buy a lottery ticket. And I know that sounds stupid, but there's a whole television show that's been running for years on people who won lottery tickets throughout the United States and bought homes, went from rags to riches. Why not you? In any genre you want it to be, as long as it's following your heart. All right, on to our Virgos. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. The Three of Cups. This is a card of celebration and harvest, but it's also very much a card of incorporation of wisdom. Sort of this, I talk a lot about Virgos enjoying the journey. Virgo rules the Virgin, and yet there's such this energy of perfectionism. And how does Virgo actually perfect something except to go through a journey? So I think here what I'm seeing with this Three of Cups is an emotional journey that you have been walking through. Now let's talk about Saturn opposing your first house. Saturn is, literally, and Saturn could be very triggering because it would be very much for you to be like, okay, this is the process. I work for this man. I work for this authority. I do this kind of analyzing for them. This is my daily routine. This is the house of slavery, where there was definitely another human who had dominion over many at some point. And if we think about our jobs, they have dominion over us. If we don't go to our job, we won't make money. So here, this is really, for me, an incorporation of wisdom. Let's see where we're going with this. Anything that you feel passion for is okay. It really is. The little trick is to see where the passion comes from. Is it fear-based or is it love-based? Because everybody who gets into a situation of saved has a co-creation of some kind. I could interpret myself as trying to be saved right now. And yet at the same time, I realize that I stand more in hero energy than I need to be saved. I'm more of an illuminator right now of imbalance. Okay, Virgo. Merlina is our first angel. Patience is our second angel. Adriana is our third. And the final is Celeste. You know, as Mercury moves into Capricorn, Mercury being your ruling sign, you may start thinking about the structures. Oh, Merlin and Merlina joined each other again. Very powerful. Oh, wow. The Patience card and the dog is here. Adriana and the Truth is together. Celeste and the Queen is here. You know what? I got to tell you, Virgo, I definitely think this has something to do with your work life. It has something to do with starting to harvest something, starting to feel the abundance of it. And yet at the same time, it's not about trying to work it into process or trying to get it to go by some sort of rules of process. Merlin talks about alchemy, justice, and balance. You got a double dose here, Virgo. Now we have the dog. Unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. And then there's the Patience card. The Patience card is not about holding your breath or trying to, wait for something to happen. It's an observing energy, an observing of the vibration of the frequency. And am I aligned to the loyalty of myself? Because Adriana is leading you to the truth. And there's a part of that feels as if the wisdom that the Three of Cups has to offer is the harvest isn't coming from me planting or hoeing or pruning or weeding. It's now a time to collect. And here is the Queen standing in reception. And here is Celeste. This is a new home or a new place of work. Hey, small wildflowers, you hear that? It's going to happen. So keep your dreams big and put your frickin' put it out there to the universe and say, look, I'm taking no prisoners. Now make it so. And you would be amazed at the magic that can happen. The magic. Exactly, Jules. All right, on to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, Libras. The Seven of Pentacles. This is a card of deliberation, assessment. It is a pause to sort of reflect. Do I want to continue to grow my pentacles? Do I want to harvest them? Where do I want to go next? Seven is also interesting because Libra is the seventh house. Libra represents a deliberation for fairness, an assessment for fairness. Everybody loves me today. Jupiter's on my moon. Did I mention that? My phone dings at like all times of the day and night. It's such a nice thing. All right. We have the Patience card, Libra. Now is a time to study and learn and gather information. We have the schooling and education card. This is very interesting because this is an education in your vibration, in your ability to focus on what you want versus what you think you can get. We have Chantal, the angel of love and the romance. And then we have Archangel Gabriel, which talks about communications, insecurities, and it's about mercurial things, our everyday lives. The Patience card is being joined by the Joy card. Maya is being joined by the Goblin. Chantal is being joined by the Water Fairy. And Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the Love card. As I looked at this, I thought to myself, there is a little something about learning about your ego here. And the ego, when I talk about it, I think it's edging God out. Now, naturally, we think of Libra as a partnership sign. One of the challenges is that Libra will defer to their partner. They will, be so cooperative that inadvertently they will enable an imbalance. So I think that this Patience and the Seven double down on observing a situation, and if it brings you joy. If everything, the joy is not going to be a flat line. Joy, 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 joy. It's always going to be a roller coaster ride on the human journey. But joy is also a direction of our focus. It's where we put ourselves, because I think sometimes Libra creates joys for other, and then they wait for others to create joy for them, and they get their feelings hurt. Because Chantal is about love, and then there's the emotional body. And I think that it's super important when I think of Cancer, when I think of Pisces, when I think of Libra, I think sometimes you defer to the other person, but inside you're holding your breath thinking, okay, it's your turn to love on me now. It's your turn to focus on me. And then the other person never does it. And they get all pissed off, like, when's it my turn? Because I think that this is about you doing you. This is about Archangel Gabriel talks about communications and art, Venus, and here's love. So I feel like this observation is, how much am I allowing myself to have joy? How much am I allowing myself to have fun? Where am I right now? The South Node is going through the house of Libra, really asking us to be egoless to dynamics that we don't quite understand, like not all the pieces of the puzzle are together. So there could very well be an egoless to a bigger picture that is ushered in through divine disruption. The South Node can represent a point of loss, but it's also a very spiritual point. So here, I think this might be about deliberating on the things that you're creating and you're growing. And if there's outside interference that's asking you to give up your desire for their situation, you might want to think about if that's really going to serve a bigger picture of feeling a sense of flow, or whether you're feeling a sense of resentment being stacked upon you. That's the way I want to put it. Okay, on to our Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Okay. So one of my adversaries in my war, my battle, is a double Scorpio. And it's so funny how people tell you stuff, right? So this guy comes into my house and he's all excited, and I tell him what I do, and he's all, and then next thing you know, I don't know what happened when he went back to the office, but he turned into total flipped a script and got very dark Scorpio. So here is contempt. Here, literally, Scorpio is like you win a battle, but you don't win. Or you think you win a battle, but you don't win. And here, when I look at this, I almost feel as if pick your battle, Scorpio. Pluto and the sun are coming together this week. So your ruling planet and your co-ruler is in Capricorn in its exaltation. This might be really digging deep onto what is your motivation for whatever is in conflict. Like, I almost feel like sometimes when we get into conflict with others, we get on a path where we're just want to win, or we just want to, we forget why we even started it, what the intention was. And I feel as if, I don't know if this would be coming at you, meaning some contempt is coming at you, or you're feeling contempt for others. Let's look at it. Because this character disarms these people, but does he win? He might have thought he won. The first angel is patience. I think, the Shapley cluster, there's a point called the Shapley attractor, and it's at 2 degrees of Scorpio. And this is really a strong point where you're looking at false attachments, where you're looking at where you have put yourself somewhere and made it seem better than it actually is going to be. So while I don't, I'm not off the top of my head, other than your ruling planet Pluto making that conjunction and moving into Aquarius, I also think it's important to look where there could potentially be false attachments that are creating a feeling of contempt, or a feeling, because you could feel contempt that you were protecting somebody and then they threw you under the bus. Okay, I have Sonia in the opportunity of the obstacle, Layla, and then Isaiah. Patience is being joined by the death card. That's Pluto. Sonia's being joined by the wind fairy. Layla's being joined by the love card, and Isaiah's being joined by the forgiveness. Something new is going to begin for you, Scorpio, and it may not happen right away, but it's starting to be teed up. And if indeed you're starting to feel contentious energy in your life with your home, whether it's at work, again, early born Scorpios or people with early Scorpio energy will feel a square to Pluto. And I want to say this too, because Pluto can make a square in your chart and a trine at the same time. And when you're looking at your chart, and again, Placidus is a bigger key for me, because the house structure, the size of the house, tells me how important that environment is. Because this death card is a transformation in how you view yourself. And here is Sonia and the wind fairy, and I think it's going to be a transformation in how you think. And that transformation is going to be where could potentially, you might have thought you were on a team with people or you were backing somebody. And then I really wonder if they've got your back as well, because there's the love card and Layla in direct connection with, words and thoughts and things that happen. And then that joy card or the death card is another 10. Something is going to shift for you. And I think it might have to do with wherever the sun, that conjunction is in your life, because there's a new beginning, which you'll actually enjoy in some way. And this could be an emotional new beginning. It could be a physical new beginning. Without a doubt, the signs of the new beginning will show themselves. They'll reveal themselves. And this week, we're going to go into eclipse season in March, and that's going to be another powerful time. So, I was just looking at my notes. Scorpio, I want to offer this as well, because with Mars in exaltation in Capricorn, I think this patience card and this observation of any transformation you're going through will be something that's saying, I know on a deeper level, this particular lane wasn't right for me. And even though I went down it because I thought it would provide emotional or financial material security, emotionally, it's not working for me. So there'll be a reconciliation if something kind of blindsides you a little bit. But I want to offer this too, because I think it's super important to be preparing for that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction and putting forth intentions to spirit about what you want to be liberated from and what you want to expand in your life. Because that conjunction isn't happening to you. We have an opportunity to walk through it. Okay. Sagittarius, our last sign for the day. And we have this lovely energy of Sagittarius and Temperance. This Temperance card very much represents a knowing of the flow of our emotions and not looking to our feet to keep us on solid ground. Okay. Here, we kind of, as I look at this card, Archangel Gabriel is depicted. The red wings make me feel like my true ability to feel safe is through my connection to that which makes me feel I can fly. The cups with the water going back and forth feels like life is an emotional ebb and flow. And when I close my physical eyes, I engage my intuitive body. Now, Sagittarius has these amazing points. It has the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius, and then we have the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. We are still feeling Mercury's energy it hasn't quite moved into Capricorn yet, but as it's hovering those last degrees of Sagittarius and the early degrees of Capricorn, we're still feeling the downloads available through the galactic center, the inspired solutions. But part of it is slowing your roll. It's almost as if it's not quite a meditation, but it's a sort of a, when I look at the Temperance card, it's almost as if on some level I'm seeking from spirit wisdom so I understand what this back and forth is. Let's look. Our first angel is Vanessa, the angel of faith. Our second is Aurora, saying you're flying high right now, don't descend. Astera is back to have a stretch for our dreams. And there's Isaiah again, new ideas, new situations, new opportunities have begun to gestate. Your ruling planet rules business, commerce. It also rules justice. Whoa. Well, let me go get that card. Hold on. Oh, right. The dog, unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity is joining Vanessa. We have the Lady of the Lake. which is about my deeper truth. We have the Queen joining Astera. And then finally, we have Isaiah being joined by the Fear card. Okay, so this is what I want to say for my Sagittarius, is because this Jupiter going through the sign of building, Taurus, the sign of my voice, the sign of my own talents and my own creations, could very well see you having yourself either step out into more individual ways to make your income, or to start to expand. And this is about having a loyalty to yourself and anchoring in your faith, knowing that you're going on a journey of ebb and flow, and that every time you feel a little bit of fear, this has the very ingredients to empower you to walk through it. Because the Lady of the Lake is absolutely a storm between my mind, my emotions, and there's Excalibur somewhere, oh God, I can't do very well, somewhere in the middle holding my truth. And Aurora says you're in the middle of a process, and pretty soon you're going to start to receive evidence of that process, reaching for the stars, ready to receive. I don't need to assert. This is more about inviting in the expanded view of how your life feels in the way of your ideologies, your philosophies, how your day is rolling. Isaiah is giving birth to new ideas. Now the Fear card feels a little bit like I recognize that fear is actually the thing that lets me know that I'm invested. Fear lets me know that this is important to me. Fear is also the thing that lets me know I'm a Jedi warrior, because as I walk through my fear, depending upon how I do it, and this is with balance, this is with an ability to see the broader picture, Sagittarius, to rise above the situation, to know that justice will prevail, whatever that justice is. That turns your fear into something very valuable. And that's what I think is going on, the beginning of the transformation of your fears into power. And to know that as you are loyal and faithful to your own desires, your dreams, your own expansion, your own voice, as you move, as Jupiter, your ruling planet, later this year moves into Gemini, you could see your community, your everyday life start to expand and align the Jupiter, or I should say Sagittarian and Gemini energy. It's like being able to incorporate a broader version of you into your everyday world. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks everybody for putting up with me. Thanks for being so gentle with me, as every once in a while I'm supposed to show up and things get in the way. Again, my battle has been a little bit disruptive, but very empowering at the same time. And I want to thank all of you for your loyalty, your support, your love, your generosity. And Small Wildflowers, everybody missed you when you were gone. We didn't get a chance to really tell you that, but everybody was like, where are you, Small? Because it's just not the same without you. All right, everybody. We will see you next week, 11 a.m. Pacific time, when we will be in Aquarius season. It's all ramping up now. All right, everybody. Peace out. See you next week.